Sometimes in HelpSpot you may have a reoccurring task or a task that you need to delay till a certain time. We can set up some custom fields and automations in order to streamline this process and make it easier to manage those types of tasks. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new date field that's going to allow us to set a follow-up date on our requests. And then we'll build some automations that will bring those requests to our attention when we need to attend to them. So first of all, we'll go to the admin area, and then we're going to go to our custom fields. All right, inside of custom fields, we need to set up a new custom field, and the type of field we're going to use for this purpose is a date field, so that we can select a specific date when we want a request to reopen. Go ahead and go to step 2, and now we can go ahead and give this field a name. I'm just going to call this follow-up date. Then we can go ahead and choose to create this field. All right, so we now have our follow-up date field. Now we can go ahead and go to the automation rules, and we're going to set up our rule that's going to help us reopen these requests when the follow-up date has been reached. So I'm going to create a new rule. And now I'm going to set a couple of criteria here. First, I'm going to check and see if the request is currently closed. And then I'm going to add another criteria. I'm going to look for my follow-up date custom field that we just built earlier. Now from this drop-down, I can select to check if the follow-up date is today. So what this means is HelpSpot's going to compare the follow-up date that I set on an individual request to today's date. And if those two dates are the same, along with the request being closed, now I can choose to perform an action. In this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and reopen that request. All right, so we'll just test these conditions quick, and then we'll go ahead and add the rule. Now when I'm working in HelpSpot, I can open any request, and I can now select a follow-up date. So let's say maybe I need to follow up on the 20th on this particular request, and then go ahead and close this request. Now that request will be closed out of my queue, but HelpSpot will reopen that request and put it back into my queue on the date that I specified. As I mentioned earlier, this can be great for tasks that you need to follow up on at a certain time period, or it can also be great for building a reoccurring task. So maybe you need to do some task on the first of every month. You can set that follow-up date for the first of the month, and then have that request reopen on the first of the month, and then do the same for the next month, and so on and so forth. And that's all there is to building a follow-up automation inside of HelpSpot.